Pigment 6 just announced today, and I gotta say, I'm really impressed with the way Arturia keeps pushing this software. It's been out for a few years now, but not that long in comparison to other very similar synth sample and synthesis kind of workstation synthesizers. So I gotta hand it to Arturia for putting these updates out for free and just constantly trying to make this software better and better, adding more and more synthesis capabilities and methods. In this version, we've got modal synthesis, so we're talking about physical modeling kind of stuff, which is a really neat addition to an already powerful set of oscillators and types of synthesis. We also have a new vocoder built into Pigments, which is very cool because up till now you've got things like the vocoder V by Arturia, but you're using the synth engine that comes with this piece of imitation gear. So with this vocoder, you can actually use any sound that you've created in Pigments and use that as the carrier, and then use something like your voice as a modulator. And I'll show you how we can either use samples or we can just use it live just like you would a traditional vocoder. So let's check it out, and I'll have a link to more information in the description. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Here we go. Here is the old version on the left. Not a lot of changes, I think, in terms of this little play area, this kind of overview of your patch. That's one spot where they did a little bit of changes, but nothing much. You know, it's not like a drastic redesign of the software. So now what we'll do is use this little gear icon to expand the tutorial section. And these tutorials are great for giving you a little overview of a whole bunch of things in Pigments, including what is new. So we're going to click on the what is new. We've got this new modal synthesis engine, a form of physical modeling. And it's not like other physical modeling software where you could choose like the type of mallet and things like that, but it's using similar concepts. So we'll play with a couple of those patches today. I'm gonna have to learn a lot more about this one myself. Next, we've got this cluster filter. A new lo-fi filter. A vocoder.
Let the ground shake. We let the ground shake.
A random modulator. Gonna be perfect for those bleeps and bloops. A voice modulator per voice. So you can almost get that Juno 106 problem when the voice chips are failing and one of the voices sounds different than the others. And then a combinate module. And this one here looks like it's converting the audio data into modulation data. So you can see this cutoff filter moving with the drum beat. And if I play with the level, and then a bunch of other little optimizations and things that they've added. So let's just try some of the modal synthesis patches that we get with this new version. And if we want to do that, all we have to do is click on this little browser. We can go to sound banks, and then we can choose Pigments 6.0. And then we're gonna click on type here, and we're gonna go to some of these mallets. Let's have a look at what this patch is made of. You can see it's using the new modal engine. So let's turn off the tape echo. So you can hear that all of this trickling stuff is actually probably coming from the synth engine itself. So let's go back to the synth engine. Let's turn that off. We can see this granular portion here is what's creating these trickly things that are happening after the sound. So let's try changing some of these parameters here. Cool. Let's turn the rate down. So let's try another track. This one we're going to see if we can find a bass patch from our new sound bank. So we'll go to Pigment 6, and we're just gonna go type, and we'll go to bass. Let's see. Oh, there's a nice bass. This one's made by Dash Glitch. Big fan of him. We're going to type in modal and see what pops up. Let's try this one right here. Twinkle, twinkle. I'd love to see more patches. More. 100 is not enough for this, all of this new stuff. Let's try a pad. Okay, so the next thing we should look at is the vocoder. Traditionally, you'd set up a vocoder as a modulator and a carrier, and the modulator is usually going to be a voice, and you're going to get the characteristics, the spectral frequency characteristics of the voice kind of get imprinted onto the carrier or the synth signals. So let's just type in vocoder and see the patches we get. So you can hear the characteristics of whatever voice this is getting influenced by a synth patch of some sort. So if we click on the Effects tab, we can see where the vocoder is. And right now, the engine 1 is the modulator. So that's containing our vocal samples. So it's kind of like the voice. And then engine 2 is the synth. So if we go to engine 2 and start playing around with it, so let's start from scratch, and I'll show you how you would import a sample and then set up a vocoder. And I'm going to go to the synth engine here, and we're just going to set this to a sawtooth wave. We'll go to engine 2, and we're going to put our sample on that. Let's grab a sample that I've recorded, and I'm just going to drag that right onto the sample engine, jamming on the one. And now we can hear both the synth and the sample at the same time. Now we go to the Effects tab, we click a drop down, we choose vocoder, jamming on the one. And then I make sure the modulator is set as engine 2. So the synth is the carrier and the voice is the modulator.
Jamming on the one, jamming on the one, jamming on the one, jamming on the one.
But now we can still hear the voice, so we go back over here, we go to the output of the sampler and we turn it right down. So now,
Jamming on the one, jamming on.
so now all we're hearing is the samples being influenced by the synthesizer sound. The thing that makes this so exciting is now we can go and choose any type of synthesis as the carrier inside Pigments. So way more than just like a analog synthesis style thing. You can have other samples that you're using as your carrier for this vocoder. And so let's try a sample. There's some kind of piano sample. Let's go to the actual samples. Let's try some kind of psychedelic. Ooh.
Jamming on the one, jamming on the one, jamming on.
Right, so we're using a sample, this kind of organy sample as our carrier. So go back over to the Effects tab,
Jamming on the one,
and here you can do things like increase the amount of bands in this vocoder.
jamming on the one, jamming on the one.
And the more bands you have, the more realistic it's going to sound. And then all sorts of other little controls. We can change the format so it gets a little more chipmunky or a little more deep.
Jamming on the one.
Anyways, great little vocoder that they've added to Pigments. I can't wait to actually dig into it and play around with this. But if you did want to actually use this as a traditional vocoder setup, let's just go over that really quickly. And what you need to do is you need to activate the side chain, and then through your DAW here in Cubase, I've got an audio track right here and a microphone hooked up. Check, check, check. Now what I need to do is set the modulator to be the audio input, and then I need to go over to my audio track itself, and we're going to output this to my Pigments that I've just activated, which is this fourth Pigments. And now I should have it set up. Check, check.
Check, check, check. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
And now I can play the chords of my song.
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
hopefully come up with something a little more creative than that when you're using your vocoder. So I hope that was helpful, a little bit of insight on this new version. Thanks to Arturia for sending it over to me. And thanks for making the updates free. I think it goes a long way in the industry when you do this kind of stuff. So keep doing that. This is a good move. So let me know what else you want to see in future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.